to welcome all of you.
Okay. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to webinar series of Industrial Engineering Petra University. I'm very glad that all of you could join this webinar. A special thanks to our keynote speaker, Professor Nyoman Pujawan, Mr. Bahri Mahmud, Mr. Widarta Liunanda, Mr. Deddy Wijaya. Once again, thank you for your participation, and I hope this webinar broaden our knowledge in logistics. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Heri. Now, please allow us to take a quick photo session with all the audience members. So with all due respect, I would like to invite all the audience members to turn on their video just for a few minutes. Thank you. To the documentation team, please let me know whether you are finished with the photo session. Thank you.
Makasih, Mas Bus.
Nyato, are we finished?
Documentation team, can you please let me know? Okay, I guess we can continue our event now. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Now we are heading to our main event for today, and let me introduce you to our moderator for today's webinar. Please welcome Ms. Felecia from PCU's IE department.
Okay, thank you, Nyato. Good afternoon. I am Felecia, and I will be the moderator for today. First of all, we would like to thank you to all participants who have joined us today in this webinar series. We have more than 950 participants registered from universities, company representatives, professionals, business, and public. We are honored to have 4 experts in logistics and supply chain who will enlighten us with the latest advancement in this sector. Professor Nyoman Pujawan is a well-known expert in Indonesia for supply chain engineering and logistic management from Institute Teknologi 10 November, Surabaya. Mr. Bahri Mahmud, CMILT from UCSI University Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, from Department of Logistic Management. He has more than 25 years experience in the industry, mainly in the operational and financial activities of logistic and transport organization. Mr. Widarta Liunanda, Vice President Director of PT Salam Pacific Indonesia Lines. Mr. Deddy Wijaya, Head of Finance and Administration, PT Salam Pacific Indonesia Lines. We have experienced how the world has changed and digitalization has played essential roles in our life. Digitalization also very much needed to improve the effectiveness and efficiency in the logistic process. mainly when Indonesia consists of thousands of islands. We will also learn today how digitalization implemented in logistic company like PT SPIL. Our Q&A session will be done after the session. Our committee will help to collect questions from our participants in the Google form. The link will be distributed in the chat room. Let us not wait any further, and I will give the first opportunity to Professor Nyoman Pujawan to give us his insights. Please, Professor Nyoman Pujawan.
Okay, thank you, Bu Felecia. So I have to deliver in English, right? And how long it will be, Bu Felecia? How much time I have?
About 15 to 20 minutes, Pak Nyoman.
15 to 20 minutes. All right. Let me share my slide. Right. First of all, thank you for colleagues from Petra Christian University for inviting me to share some of my thought on digitalization and automation in logistics. So I'm adding one word, automation, because I think there are two things that is actually happening. It's not only digitalization, but also automation that is now changing a lot of the logistic industry. All right, so I'm from ITS, and also I'm running the ISC Indonesia, which is a representative of certification in logistic and supply chain management professional in Indonesia. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, we are now already in a very advanced state of our logistic and supply chain management. But actually, the development is not new because I think logistics has been evolved for a very long time. So if we go back to the early development or early innovation in logistics, we got some of the simple innovation that you can see from the left side of my slides, like the pallet, for example, the forklift, and the containers, standard containers for multimodal transportation. So those are among early innovation and logistic. And still we very much rely on those simple innovation in today's logistic. But nowadays, if we are looking at some recent development, we see also a lot of recent development, like the use of robot in warehouses, drone that is used for delivery of parcel. And also if we look at the sea transportation, we now see the much increase in the capacity of the container vessel. And I think now the largest capacity is close to 20,000 TEUs. TEUs stand for 20 feet equivalent unit. So many people call it as a mega vessel. So those are among the development in logistics. And of course, we are very much dependent on logistics because our life is very much affected by logistics. So if logistics is not working, then we probably will have difficulty in getting food, clothes, and everything that we need in daily life. So logistics is affecting the life of everybody. All right, so when we talk about digitalization, let's have a look on the definition, what digitalization is actually stand for. So there are a couple of definitions that we can see. The first definition I took from Wikipedia, and the second one is from Gartner. So the first definition says that digitalization is the process of converting information into a digital format in which the information is organized into bits. So basically, when we talk about digitalization, it is changing the way information is transmitted, changing the way some of the goods that was initially physical to digital, if somehow that is possible, like music, for example, or like a newspaper that can be changed to digital. But for sure, we cannot transform everything to digital, because when we talk about logistics, most of the physical process is still physical process. We cannot convert it into digital. And the second definition is also interesting to see here from Gartner, is that digitalization is the use of technology to change a business model, new revenue and value producing opportunities. So in the second definition, we see it is not just technical conversion, but how companies is actually use digitalization to change business model. So I think it is important for us to understand clearly what digitalization is before we are moving to what kind of digitalization that we can see from a logistics sector. Now, the second term that I use here is automation, where automation is actually changing the activities from those that mainly use human or manual work to machine. So it is actually transferring the activity from those that done by people, by human, to machine. So that is automation. So when we talk about robot, for example, is it an automation or digitalization? I think we are more toward automation if we talk about robot in handling of materials in the warehouse. But somehow when you collect information from the movement of robot and connect the information of location of goods in the rack, so that robot can pick it up accurately in a timely manner, then we also do digitalization in that way. So actually we can see that both digitalization and automation are actually practiced here when we are using robot in current warehouse operation. But it is more toward automation, but somehow we are also using some level of digitalization in that sense. So when we talk about automation and digitalization, as McKinsey Global Institute stated, it is quite obvious that logistics is very much affected. So it is said here that transportation and warehousing industry has the third highest automation potential of any sector. So which is interesting. So that's why I think what we are discussing this afternoon is appropriate, because we are now surrounded by the change in automation and digitalization in warehouses. So as I mentioned before, I think there are activities that still or remain to be physical. There are a lot of warehouses activities, material handling, packaging, transportation, return handling, product bundling, and many more that we cannot change into digital. So that's why transportation is still important. We cannot transfer it into internet, for example, except for some items that I mentioned before, like books, you can make it digital. Newspaper, you can make it digital. Music, you can make it digital. But if you are transferring building materials, if you are transporting industrial product, you still need a physical flow, physical handling, and physical activities in the logistics. So we don't have alternative for that yet. Yeah, but which part that we can move to digital is basically information. So we can change information to digital, for example, in processing transaction, which can result in faster, more efficient in terms of cost, and more accurate processes. So we need to distinguish between which part that we can digitalize and which part that we cannot digitalize. Well, of course, when we talk about automation, we are basically replacing human through smart control. Like, for example, as I mentioned before, we use robot for material handling, automated sorting process. Now we also witness the development of self-driving truck. Some companies like Amazon already use drone for delivery. And there are many companies that use like Google Glass for picking processes in the warehouse. On the right side, what is very much affected by digitalization, by changing information to digital, is everything that is related to information processing. Like, for example, monitoring the progress of loading and unloading, tracking the position of your truck, tracing as well, yeah, making routing decisions. So, for example, when you are making shipment to the store from the distribution center, you always have to deal with routing decision, especially when you are doing what is called in logistics as milk run. So you are visiting multiple stores in one route. So routing decision is a daily activity that you need to do. Scheduling, reporting, of course. So now people are talking about supply chain tower, control tower, where everything needs to be in the dashboard. And we want that to be all automatic. So everything that is happening in the field can be captured and we know the progress. So we have the dashboard that reflect everything that is happening in the past and now. And then analyzing performance, like for example, is there any late shipment? How many of the truck that is now on track? So not delivering in the wrong destination or reaching the destination at the right time. So we can analyze the performance. So with the use of big data, I think it is very much possible actually to track the position, analyze the performance, and the real-time performance of what is happening in the field, and including, for example, predicting traffic condition, because with big data, we are now capable of making better prediction of what is going to happen in the short future or in the long future. I think there are a lot of innovation in logistics. So I think if you are looking at the many development that is happening all around the world, there are a lot of startups that are trying to apply modern technologies, like, for example, data analytics in logistic industry. So among some of the biggest startups that try to use advanced technologies in logistics. So I think you can have a look in the website. There are a lot of information available for that. So let me show some of the examples. So here, for example, is using Google Glass for warehouse picking. I think those of you who are familiar in logistics or working in the field of logistics, you know that one of the most time-consuming and most error-prone activity in a warehouse is actually picking. Yeah. When you receive an order, you have to pick the items to fulfill the order, and that takes most of the time in the warehouse operation. So by the use of technologies, like for example, recently we know there are technologies like for example, light assisted picking, voice assisted picking, and now we have Google Glass. So I think people can do the picking process very much better, more accurate, and faster. And then I think robot has been used in the warehouse. I think most of you have seen this video. So this enables, of course, the material handling activity to be done more accurately with minimum error and also faster. So that is very important, especially if you are dealing with rapid order processing. For example, when you receive 100, even 1,000 of order that you need to process in a day, then you need speed and accuracy. Then that kind of technology will be very helpful. Yeah. And then, as I mentioned before, the use of drone for delivery is already started, and this solves obviously the congested cities in some area. So now, because roads are congested. So we think about moving up to the air. So that will also probably one of the possible development that is not only happening in the developed countries in the future, but also in the developing countries like Indonesia. I think it is also possible to be happening here as well. Autonomous truck, companies like Volvo and some other companies, like Telstra, are now already developing, or even in some countries, they already start operating autonomous truck. So most of you familiar with logistic condition of Indonesia. I have some data looking at the travel time that you need when you are delivering goods from East Java to Jakarta, for example. And if you understand about the statistic, the spread of the delivery time is very much wide. So some truck actually can reach Jakarta within, let's say, 30 hours. And other truck will require 60 hours, and other truck will require 75 hours. So the spread is very, very wide, indicating that we are actually dealing with a very serious uncertainty when we talk about road transportation or truck transportation in Indonesia, because a lot of reasons like congested road, or even probably the driver just would like to stop for some time, and we don't really have much control on that. So because also we know that if you rely on human, then of course you need to also comply with the regulation, with the let's say, for example, the maximum hours a driver can drive in a day. So when the driver is tired, they have to stop, take a rest. But when the truck is autonomous like this, the machine is not tired. So of course, this will speed up the delivery process and then reduce the crashing, for example, because it must be equipped by a high level of safety buffering in this kind of innovation. So that will improve a lot of the logistic condition in countries like Indonesia, where we are now suffering with uncertainty in the road and long delivery time, etc. But of course, talking about this will require everyone to take more holistically, not only looking at the efficiency or the speed, but also we have to look at the environmental issue. We need to also to look at the social issues. So a lot needs to be taken into account when we are talking about how automation will affect logistics, especially in countries like Indonesia, where we need to provide a lot of job opportunities for people. Right. Obviously, not only what is happening in that side, like in the warehousing, transportation, etc., changing manual work into automation, but what is also changing a lot nowadays is the business model. So let's, for example, if you have to find a truck now, you can also find a truck online. Like, for example, when you need a taxi, now we can order a taxi online. So a taxi is moving online. And even now in Indonesia and in other countries like in India, spot market for trucking is very popular. So meaning that we are changing the business model of transportation, or how you find the capacity of transportation from what you see in the past to what is happening now. So sharing resources, moving transport capacity to spot market is also a kind of a common changes that is happening now in some part of the world. Probably India is one of the country where you will find a lot of companies that offering truck capacity in the spot market. Yeah, so this is one in India. So if you look at Truck Guru, for example, it is one of the platform that is available for matching supply and demand instantly. So within a very short time. So that is happening like you are ordering online taxi. So you need now and you order now. But probably for trucking, you probably need to spare a little bit of time because probably the truck is not available very much close to your location. Now, so what is now the issue when we talk about automation and digitalization like this is that we need to be aware about how or what is the role of humans in the future when everything is done by machine. So when, for example, the material handling activity is already performed by robot, so what is then the role of human? And if, for example, the self-driving truck is already operated here in Indonesia, so what can be done by the drivers? So we will lose a lot of job opportunities, and we need to think seriously about that. So then I think there is a lot of effort that need to be done by everyone, not only by the government, but also by the education institution, as well as by the companies, to make sure that this kind of shifting, if this to be happening, is done smoothly so that machine and people are merging in a good way. But we know that people are always more superior to machine. People are the most intelligent creature in this planet, and the machine is actually created by human. But then when we talk about 270 million people in Indonesia, this is not simple. So there are a lot of problems going to happen when, for example, companies are deciding to adopt digitalized technology, automation, and then we lose a lot of job opportunities. There are some opportunities for improvement in efficiency, etc. But I think we need also to think about the social problem created. So I think this is my last slide. Then what is also important is we need to adjust the education system. We prepare the skill for the future. So when, for example, machines are already taking up some of the roles of human, then human need to reposition themselves so that the skills need to be adjusted, to be upgraded. So I think this is the document that I modified. I took this information from the report of, I think, McKinsey PricewaterhouseCoopers, and I modified a little bit. But it is quite clear that for future workforce, we need to prepare them to be able to use technology in a better way, to use data, and to work in complex coordination. So that's why supply chain supply chain management is very important. And then to adopt to the new business model, especially when you talk about the companies. So you probably need to think about the new business model to survive in the current business environment. So then a lot of new skills are required down there, like, for example, learning skills. So because what you learn now is probably getting obsolete within 5 years. So what is important is to be adaptable to any changes. So learning skill is very important. Being graduated from university is not enough if you think that is already all that you need to learn. So learning now is for everybody, for any age. So it is not an ever-stopping effort for learning. So I think that's all. This is just an information that we organize a lot of things like forum, virtual forum. So if you are interested in logistics and supply chain, this is a kind of forum that you could attend. We invited a high-profile speaker from many different countries. It is to be held on 3rd and 5th February, and I think a lot of people will be talking about digitalization because that is one of the important issue nowadays. So I think that's all, Bu Felecia, what I could share. So hoping that some of my thought can be taken away for message in improving or designing your company, your education system, etc. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Nyoman Pujawan, for the session, and we will continue with the next session. Mr. Bahri, if you are there, I haven't received your email. Please, can you send it again to my email? And I will have to exchange the schedule. So after this, Mr. Widarta Liunanda and Mr. Deddy Wijaya will present first while we are waiting for your email, Mr. Bahri. Yes, time and place I will give to Mr. Widarta Liunanda and Mr. Deddy Wijaya.
Okay, I have unmuted myself. So, hello everybody, and to Felecia, the coordinator for this, and to all the other colleagues, Professor Nyoman Pujawan, Harry, and everybody else here, colleagues. Yeah, I think we heard an impressive presentations from Professor Nyoman. Let me share my screen a while. Let's see if I could do this. There you go. Can it be seen? Can
Yes.
it be seen?
Yes, yes.
Yes, okay. Even I couldn't see it myself, but there it is. Anyhow, why is this not on the full screen? I think I'm having problems. Oops. Oops. Okay. Yeah, being from SPIL, we are actually a shipping lines, and I'll try to actually really focus on the digitalization in logistics itself. Let me then, if at all we could see this, where it is, the other one. No, I'm having difficulty. Okay, so in actual fact, when we talk about digitalizations, this is not the objective. Digitalization for us is only a means to achieve an end. So there is never an objective for us to go digitalized. Digitalized is a process, actually. It is only a means to achieve an end. Again, let me then go through the simple definitions that we use in our applied life here. It's basically what is digitalization? Is the use of digital tech in logistics, which fundamentally changing how we operate and deliver our values to customers. And why do we need these transformations? If I may be so blunt.
Can make full screen, Pak.
Hello? Hello? Can it be seen?
Yes, we can see you, but I think the PPT need to be full screen because what we see here is like the main screen.
Oh, okay. Let me do this.
Yeah, perhaps you can unshare first and then you can go back again, going to the page for the full screen.
It's still not happening. Let me stop the sharing.
Yeah, stop the sharing first.
Okay. And I'll go here, which is already full screen. September. Okay. Zoom. Is it full screen now?
Yes, it's good.
Happy.
Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sorry about that. Yeah. So the what is the digital technologies in logistics is basically changing our way of doing business. The why, it is an ongoing process, which is, if I may be so blunt, basically because we fail to evolve. Therefore, we talk about transformations. If only we are evolving, then we don't talk about transforming. So why we are digitally transforming, it's because we fail to evolve. Why do we fail to evolve? Logistic, as I might call it, is the oldest business in the world. Not the oldest professions, but the oldest business in the world. Everybody used logistics from the minute man roamed the earth. Anyhow, what's the impact then? Digitalization is impacting all our cultures and how we actually challenge the status quo and how we experiment, how we move during every period of our time. For example, now that we are in pandemic, so this digitalizations must have had some meanings to what we are doing. So it's finding solutions all the time. So if I then move to the next one, I'm trying to be very quick here for people to actually having time to ask me about this stuff. Okay, when does it actually start? Well, early 2000, everybody was talking about digital transformations, digitalizations. But the fact of the matter is, in logistics, we need to get it clearly happening because something called cost savings. Is it in there? Oh, there you go. So what's happening when we talk about cost savings? We need everything faster. And I agree fully with Professor Nyoman that, some of these things are still being handled, manhandled. So digitalization is actually only talking about data. There is not a mention about the physical movement, except probably drones for now, and probably the driverless vehicles. But anyhow, then we move on to the global financial downturn in 2013. And at that time, there is a lot of movements, especially I'm talking about container liners. They call themselves, consolidations. So I'll go about consolidations later on a bit, but digitalization is very good in creating standards, because when I go together, for example, with somebody else's, another liners, it'll be very nice for the two of us or the three of us or the four of us to actually share the same standards. Therefore, we could actually make the data flow faster. Again, I mentioned digitalization is about data. Now, here comes COVID-19. COVID-19 actually creates equality and unity. Equality in terms of everybody is prone to it, but it creates unity in a way that, everybody wants to have exactly the same purpose. Just get out of this pandemic and control COVID. But then again, it creates a lot of inequality in terms of widening the gaps between the haves and the have-nots. Now, a lot of people being pushed into poverty, like, well, probably at the end of this year, Indonesia probably has got an additional 20,000 people under the poverty lines. I'm not sure, but that's what the I think it was some studies was telling me that probably some Bank Indonesia report somewhere. But anyhow, this COVID-19 is definitely requiring affordable solutions, which is in terms of solutions, it could be good, it could be bad, and therefore it changes the logistic business models. And the rate of this evolutions of the business models is like revolutionary. Some people said that during the 6-7 months that we are having COVID-19, probably the digitalizations has jumped, probably some said close to about 15 years ahead. But that's really depends on how we see it. In logistics, I could say things about our own self. Within the last 3 years, we have been doing things a lot faster than, say, the last 5 to the last 8 years. So yes, and if I now mentions that digitalization is actually an enabler and a solutions. So let me go next slides. Now let me go into the business case that we do have. What happened is market demands the speed and accuracy and affordable logistics operations. And these things could be actually solved by having a very quick data exchange. Why do we need very quick data exchange? Again, basically the bottom line is cost savings. It's how we as a business improve our bottom line. That's all there is. There's no magic rules or anything like that. So again, digitalization is not the objective in itself. It is a means to achieve an end. A means is the digitalizations, the end is a beautiful bottom line. So why do we use the data faster? Because now, for example, the hidden costs in the case of SPIL and Unilever, the hidden costs of Unilever cargoes of being like having an extra demurrage, detentions. Unilever doesn't quite actually able to predict when is their cargo actually reaching their warehouse. Now they can do it. The data exchange was instant between Unilever and us. So the second business case here is between SPIL and Shell. Shell requiring our data not only during the shipping process at sea, but it is also during first and last miles. If you remember the dashboard that I show at the very beginning of my slides, it's actually a real dashboard that Shell is looking into so that they know how many trucks are actually coming out of the warehouse, how many trucks is coming into the port, and how many containers are being loaded into our ships. The same goes at the last mile positions. So we are not only digitizing our ships, but we are digitizing logistics, which includes the hinterland services, the inland services, the truckings. And then if we go someplace else again for a business case, you know, digitalizations actually a solution to solve the problem of surface inequalities. Now we could easily pick up or easily making a choice between, for example, I just put it there, GNE or GNT. So which one is better suited to us? This makes GNE and GNT push their standards into almost the same level. And they're always looking for an innovative solutions. So then in that case, digitalization is actually solve the problem of inequalities. It improves the quality of life, if I may say so. Now, as an enabler, digitalization is actually very much tailor-made. So our connections with Unilever or our connections with Shell or probably with P&G, it is all tailor-made. So it's not a standard thing that we just throw to people. This is an enabler for them to actually probably tracing and tracking, like Professor Nyoman was saying, or even to develop their inventory management better. And for us to actually play the roles of 4PL, which is provider logistics, yeah, which actually not only sending goods from A to B, but also managing inventories. That's basically what happened. So that in itself, digitalization is an enabler and also a solution. This is the uniqueness of digitalizations. But then again, I must keep on stressing that digitalization is never an end. It is only a means to achieve an end. No magic. So we are transforming into digitalized world because we failed to evolve properly. That is very peculiar to me and my approach in doing digitalization in logistics. So let me go to the next one. If you see this is a real business case from us. You could see the left side of the picture. You know, the improvement of a booking, container booking via SPIL, which is our apps platform. It goes year by year with that kind of an improvement. Latest, that was data of September, 90% of our booking comes from our apps and websites. Now, moving on to the right side of the picture, you could see in 2020, there is 74% of digitized bill of lading and shipping instructions, which is quite something. I myself did not actually expect that. So that is what COVID has done to us. Yes, I see someone raising their hands, but my apology, I will actually continue first, and then I'll provide plenty of time for me to reply to that. Now, those are the real business case of ours. But then again, there is one thing in logistics that we need to actually see, which is the opportunity. You know, Indonesia being part of the world, the logistics are quite conventional, especially shipping lines. Shipping lines are very famous of being very conventional. And now that the digitalization is here, it means that shipping lines must be or being forced into, you know, what I call, if you are familiar with Star Trek movies, going to wherever no man has been before. And some of that is actually opening a door into an international logistics. In that slide, I put on digitizing the global supply chain. M.Sc is the shipping liners, the biggest in the world. And then M.Sc.com is now, I think that was the data of 2019, end of 2019. It's only 59% of bookings compared to today. With us, we are doing it like probably 90% over. But anyhow, those digitalization move by M.Sc.com involves something called blockchain technology, which is the platform was called TradeLens, and that enables SPIL to actually open its door into an international market, but somehow we are exchanging data through TradeLens altogether with, I think there is probably more than 98 ports now. It's over 100 by last count. And it controls about 70% of global container capacity of that TradeLens. So here in my, I think this is my last slide. I'm only saying that digital logistics is open for everybody. We do not need to feel afraid because what we are doing here is not actually cutting out human resource, but it's actually improving the standards of how we work. So we are not, again, replacing our operation with robots or anything like that, not yet. That was still years to come. But in digitalizations, it's actually creating another set of jobs which require a higher standards of ability, of skills. Therefore, I think it's an opportunity instead of a threat. By saying so, again, we need to develop innovative solutions. Innovations is one of those that was driven us to go to digitalize ourselves. Thank you very much. I think that's all from me. But my colleagues, Deddy, the finance director, you know, if there is a questions about how we actually improve our billing systems and how we allow people to actually pay through other applications. For example, a couple of weeks ago, we released our working together with Tokopedia. As I see, Tokopedia is no longer a vendor and customer to meet together, but it's now becoming a place for people to be able to pay their expenses. For example, you could pay for your electricity usage and you know all the other things. So I said, why can't we connect with Tokopedia and let people pay our delivery order to pick up the containers through Tokopedia? That is one of those things that Deddy here is driving for. And anything about e-finance, he'll be able to answer you. So I think that's from SPIL, and we will be here to answer any questions that you might have. And thank you, Ibu Moderator. Stop my sharings, and it's all coming back to you. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Pak Widarta Liunanda. We will keep the question at the end of the session. Actually, I already received several questions, but I will keep it for later. Our
you.
next presenter will be Mr. Bahri Mahmud from UCSI University. We already prepared your PPT, Mr. Bahri, so you can just info our committee if you want to change the slide. Perhaps you will have like 15 to 20 minutes max, and I will ask permission to all participants. Probably we will extend the event to accommodate all the question and answer session. To Mr. Bahri, I will give you the time, please.
Okay, thank you, Felecia. Okay, you may start the PowerPoint, the first, please.
Bima, can you
Okay.
help for the full screen, please? Bima, can you help with the full screen?
Yeah, full screen, please. Okay, can I start?
Yes, Mr. Bahri.
Okay, thank you. So thank you for speakers before this. I'm Bahri Mahmud from UCSI University. I have been listening just now the industrial activities, the real life activities of business, the market, especially in Indonesia. For me, I'm lecturing logistic and supply chain courses. Mostly my student is asking, sir, what is different between logistic management and supply chain management? That is the most important for those first year student, first semester or second year student, always confused. For topic, digitalization logistic, I put a summarized something like easy to remember, SMART. SMART is self-monitoring, analysis, reporting techniques on operational logistic, and then I put extra word there, supply chain. Supply chain means those expected with the most expected activities, and towards the SAP ERP is the IT application, where last time I experienced using it as being the concept of the digitalization in logistics. Yeah, SMART. Okay, back to SMART. SMART means self-monitoring. We are in logistics is the pioneer using internet. We always use sensor, RFID, automation, all those related to digital, linked to computerized system. That is the most ideal to give, to express, to elaborate, to explain to student. For me as a lecturer, normally I'm receiving student also quite numbers in taking this logistic management and supply chain management. Okay, we can next slide, please. Felecia, next slide. Okay, logistic supply chain management. Logistic is a wide scope, very big scope, logistic. If we logistic, long time ago, people understood logistic is only transportation, truck transportation, but it is a wide scope from manufacturing, warehousing, transporting. Transporting also, we have land transport, sea transport, rail transport. That is logistic activities, part of an manufacturing, for example, manufacturing a product. And then logistics is part of supply chain, because if we perform logistic activities and then we say, I have done my part, that is logistic. For example, being assigned to anybody, I've done my part, movement of the goods, transporting the goods. That is something nowadays is not right. Is it having supply chain or not? Supply chain management is really becoming important. We didn't, I still remember last 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, we never had supply chain. Even we don't have supply chain analysts. We don't have supply chain manager. We don't have supply chain director towards business. So logistic is an activities. It must have supporting or producing a good result, meaning that effective supply chain management. And then to champion this, we must use the ERP. ERP is enterprise resource planning, where all the activities is linked, where all the activities is connected under one roof, under one, maybe under one computerized system. And here I present in the example is SAP ERP, which is SAP is a German IT application. Last time when I worked in M.Sc Berhad, I very enjoy using SAP ERP. Even we can trace the bunker in every ship. Every ship, for example, what is the bunker balance in at every ship at the end of the month? It is there. It is updated there, real time. For example, 30th of October, we have, for example, 100 of ships, and then the closing stock bunkers, and each vessel is recorded through SAP ERP with the platform, internet, and satellite, maybe, because ship is everywhere. Ship is at the ocean. That's why I like to present example of application is the SAP ERP. Okay, next slide, please. Next slide, please. Okay, digitalization in logistics. It is web-based collaborative technology. So link, connected, from one department, from one unit to another unit, which is at a real time, which is web-based connected collaborative technology. It is technology. That's why nowadays in logistics, we prefer more something like computer programming towards logistic activities. That's why computer is very important nowadays. Okay, the linkages or connection towards the integration of warehousing, transportation. Transportation, we have slab, sea, land, rail, and road, air, and pipeline. All this is an end user consumer information. This is something like logistic activities. The linkages or connection is through the internet or the SAP ERP, and then everything is at a real time. We are not delaying anything because one unit responsible to perform an activity or job, which is really important to another unit or another department. That's why it is not wasting time, and then it is up to date. Yeah. So conclusion this year is convergence of logistic and technology. Of course, the matching of logistic activities and the technology. Web-based collaborative technology. Of course, integration, link and connection. You suppose can use any application that can link and connect. Not only SAP ERP, but SAP ERP is everything. It depends on the needs, requirements of any company. But we cannot expect a small enterprise company want to use SAP ERP. But they have something like alternative. In Malaysia, for example, MYOB or ECPAC. That is for small enterprise can use the similar concept of SAP ERP. Yeah. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, SAP introduction. SAP stands for System Applications and Product in Data Processing. It is long time ago. SAP is championing the ERP. It is founded in 1972, Germany. And then SAP consists of number of fully integrated modules from HRM to stock, from link to finance, whatever we have budgeted, we have the actual result we still can compare from warehousing to finance or cost accounting. That is SAP system. SAP is the first in ERP market. As at last 10 years, 2010, SAP had 140,000 installation worldwide. and over 225 industry-specific business solution and more than 75,000 customers in 120 countries. Other competitive product of SAP is similar software in the market is Oracle, Microsoft Dynamics, etc. Yeah. Okay. Next slide, please. Mine is very easy and fast. Okay. Okay. The fourth step to digitizing logistic education. Why we must digitize? Here is I try to conclude with 4 steps. The first one is to identify and understand the specific challenges, what to be improved, what to be more effective and efficient. Understand issues, current issues can be solved through technology and digitalization. This is improvement, update the new modern era of logistics. Nowadays, let's say digitizing, for example, in manufacturing. Manufacturing, even now, machine 1 and machine 2 can communicate. Machine, let's say in production, we have production A and B. We have machine A and B. Machine B is waiting for machine A to complete, meaning that it is communication is there. That's why we say now machine and machine can communicate. Yeah. Okay. Resolve supply chain issues to maximizing efficiency. Yes. Sometimes we didn't realize that we can still improve in any areas. That's why resolve supply chain issues to maximizing efficiency. Efficiency, sometimes when we solve supply chain issues, maybe we can save a lot of money. A lot of money, for example, in manufacturing. A lot of raw material wastages. A lot of material to be returned to supplier. What is this? Meaning that we have forgetting something during the agreement with the supplier, with the vendor. We are saying that although in black and white is stating that we are purchasing this type of raw material, but when come to at our place, 10%, for example, 10% raw material damage. And then it is a cost to us, unless there's in the agreement saying that all those damaged material can be replaced or returned to supplier and be replaced with the new one. But it's taking times. Let's say it is, for example, just now 10%, and maybe 30%, 40%. We do not know. So it's taking our time to return the raw material to suppliers and waiting them to replace. Every supply chain priorities. So here, that's why just now I said we must have supply chain analyst. We must have supply chain manager to look into which areas can be improved. For example, in transporting of goods. Just now in our store, raw material is damaged. For example, when we delivering our finished product to customer or to distribution centers or warehouse, another place, it's maybe another destination. So in the modern digitized logistic, meaning that we can install sensor in our truck. We can install sensor in our truck. Let's say the sensor can read which boxes is damaged. For example, box number 10 is damaged. Don't deliver to customer. Take back to our warehouse, for example. We hope that in real industry or real activity, there no product losses, misplaced, damage. That is inside the truck itself. We have applied sensor. That sensor can connect, can transmit any information to HQ, for example. Let's say from Malaysia, for example, from Shah Alam, we are sending to Penang. And reaching Ipoh, the sensor said box number 10 is damaged. Please don't deliver. Maybe due to the heavy traffic, maybe the road is not, the highways is not helping us. For example, it's damaged. The box it is not taking consideration any accident or any our trucks meeting an accident in the highway or roads. Okay, just now, okay, it is truck product, we use sensor. In fact, sensor and RFID we are pioneer in logistics using it, either in warehousing, or even in distributing of finished goods to end user or customers. Yeah. Again, just now I said about internet. Because of internet, logistic activities is improved. Those not using it, maybe they are left behind. For example, RFID sensor, just now trucks, sensor in trucks. So we use internet. So internet, the most being talked nowadays is IoT, Internet of Things, using the internet as a platform to do our activities. So IoT, normally I explain to my student, what is IoT? IoT is those activities or recording not connected to our computerized system. Just now inside truck, there is no recording. For example, goods or finished product moving in or moving out from our store or warehouse. We use that internet facility. That's why internet also we have in warehouse, internet warehouse or distribution center.
Mr.
Okay,
Bahri?
next slide, please.
Yes, Mr. Bahri,
Yes.
we are a little bit late. Perhaps we can stop until the 4th step. So perhaps another 3 slides.
All right, I make it faster. Okay, I'll make it
Just until
faster
slide
now.
8. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Objective and directive is the objective why we must digitize. Why we must digitize logistic activities. It is to understand issues. It is the principle that can be applied. This is some area we cannot digitize. Just now what goods or parts or spares, it must be sent physically. Okay, next slide, please. Number 3. The 3rd step, please. Next slide. Next, okay. Create a benefits to operational digitization. Artificial intelligence is a wide-ranging branch of computer science concerned with building smart machine. Just now, smart machine. We even don't ask the machine to on. It can be started automatically. Let's say production using AI concept. For example, every day of the month, the machine will start producing. Nobody demanding. So, okay. Internet of Things connecting those unconnected, sensor and RFID, robotic processing, automation, and customer. This one is the data or information is very important here. Either customer is complaining or what numbers, volume of units of product to be produced from customer CRM. Okay, next slide, please. Number 4. Meeting consultant. So what is actually your issues or your problem? If you want to digitize your activities, you must find the consultant outside there asking what you are required. What is your needs? Vendor will advise you the right information, proven a long-term or business expansion. For example, you want to expand our business, expand our activity. So consultant will do for us. Right version and supervision by vendor relating software and application. We have so many application, and some even the SAP ERP also, it is not for mega company, maybe for small and medium company size. That is the version. Okay, next slide, please.
Maybe
What
this
is
will be the
Logistic
last slide.
4.0? It is understood everybody is, yes?
Maybe
Undergoing
this
rapid.
will be the last. Yes, this
Okay,
will
all
be
right.
the last because you have like 26 pages. I think it will take another
Okay,
half an hour.
okay, all right,
Perhaps we
it's
can,
okay.
yeah, until this one.
Okay.
This is the last one.
Okay,
Thank
all
you,
right.
Mr. Bahri.
This is the last slide for me. Thank you. Okay. Undergoing rapid digital transformation towards the IoT and services. This is just now Logistic 4.0, Industrial Revolution 4.0. Just now I said machine can talk, can communicate. Now the effect of networking and integration processes within outside of trading companies and production facilities, within or outside. This is the information or the data we use in our application. The goal of Logistic 4.0 are cross-company automation and optimization of production flows and resource utilization in both inbound and outbound logistics. So it is covers everything. So whatever it is, I'm saying that because of internet, we are changed much. We are changed much in logistic activities or logistic business. Yeah. All right. I think that's all until this slide. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Bahri, for the explanation. I'm sure everybody will want to know more, and some already put their questions. So there will be questions from you, but I think I will give the first question to Mr. Widarta. So actually, we have several questions. Perhaps we will not be able to answer all the questions here, but we will put this recording into our YouTube channel, and we will include the answer for your questions in the YouTube. So if we cannot answer everything here, we will put it in the YouTube channel. So for the Mr. Widarta, the first question that we have, how long does it take for your business process to transform from manual to digital processing? What the most difficulties in the beginning state, since potentially your member at the beginning time, permanent employee, sorry, yeah, so probably like your team probably at the beginning is very hard to change into the digital world. How long does it take and how you overcome these problems? Please, Mr. Widarta.
Yeah, thank you for the questions. But you know, digitalizations in logistics is something that is an ongoing process, as I said. But then again, normally when people was given a word digitalizations or digitizations, they'll be thinking about IT. Please understand that digitalizations everywhere and including in logistics, it is not about IT. This is about culture. It's about people. So when you said how long, simple answer would be I don't know. I won't know. We started the journey actually since a long time ago, but when I said that, okay, here we go, digitalization's drive, going logistics, we started in 2017, if that is actually representable. So now it's 2020, we've been going through this for 3 years, 4 years, and we're still going on. We're still going on, we're not stopping because we are evolving. So, and then there is the second part of the questions. If I'm not mistaken, Felecia, it's something to do with how do I actually confer and make the long-time employee. So if I may actually understand correctly, you are saying the old hands, yeah? The people that hasn't seen digitizing before. Um, um, Actually, there is none of that. Even the older people have seen digitizing before. When they use computers instead of mesin ketik, typewriter, that is digitizing already. It's just that they don't use it to make a flow of a business process into digitalization. So nobody was actually saying, "Ooh, this is new to me" and whatnot. Well, they're actually evolving. It's just the speed of the evolutions. And, there is no clear answer to that, how long, because we are still doing it. And this is not about IT, this is about people, about cultures. So even though the old hands understand this, yes, I'm lucky to have, you know, um, our colleagues are so very much understanding about this. Thank you, I suppose.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Widarta. We
Thank you.
also have question for Mr. Deddy, probably because this is more specific about finance. How you can ensure the price for the door-to-door service will be confirmed in advance? Because sometimes in logistic process, there will be like additional costs during along the process. And if the customer going to pay in advance using their credit card or using Tokopedia, how do you know how much price to cost for that customer? Perhaps you can answer that.
Okay, thank you. It's a good question. Yeah, for door-to-door service, there is for door-to-door service, some costs will be added at the end, but the most important is we have to deliver to the customer which one of the activity that is good, that's already included with the contract. So the customer have already know which value that they have to pay and how much. If there is any additional activity, for example, storage, demurrage, and others, the invoice will be appear after. I think that's I can explain.
So basically, what happened is the service is actually a whole service, so altogether. And if there is an additionals to that, then there is following invoices that will appear again. But basically, we do a wholesome service to it. It depends on the customers. It depends on the contracts. Yeah, we always be able to invoice instantly, almost instantly.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Deddy and Mr. For the answer. We also have question for Mr. Bahri. We have also question for Mr. Bahri. If you can listen to me. Does digitalization of supply chain rely heavily on software? If it's true, which supply chain software is the best to apply in Indonesian market?
Okay. Your question is which application suitable for Indonesian market, but it is depend on the size, yeah, size of your business. The size of business. Sometimes, let's say, we have so many types of business. For example, truckers or transportation. We only involve in trucks and lorries. For example, I'm looking at a small business. For example, entrepreneur. For example, the laundry shop. We have so many customers, and then we can select any application which is suited to our business, and then it is so customer will be happy. they can track they can orders or send whatever we can collect from their place, and then it is being informed, it is ready. That depends on the types of business, not which type of, for example, mega business. It is a lot of things, because let's say in a big company, we have warehousing, we have transporter, we have ship, we have everything. So maybe different activities, different units must have a special IT application or modules for being used to in this your business. Yeah, it is not fixed, not fixed, and the size for whatever types of business. It is depends on the consultant, depends on the how they advise us. I think that's the answer for which application to be used. Okay, that's all, Felecia.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Bahri. I hope it answered the question. We also have another question for Mr. Deddy. I'm sorry, I haven't sent this to you because this one is new. I think it's also specifically about the costing. How we can segregate the cost of depreciation for additional costs of digitalization on cost structure. How we can segregate the cost of depreciation for additional costs of digitalization on cost structure. Please, Mr. Deddy.
Okay. We don't need to segregate digitalization cost to our cost component because the digitalization will make cost more efficient, and also will actually lower the cost. Yeah, make the cost lower. Will make the cost is lower, become lower. I think it's our answer.
May I add to that, Felecia?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
So basically, there is a study saying that, nowadays between 2017 to 2022, companies, and this is not just the logistic companies, but companies that undergoes a digitalizations transformations is actually have to or must budget digitalization costs. And that number is about 16.7 to 17% of the whole budget. So, but then again, to put that budget, to put that cost into a cost structure, I don't think that is actually what we do, because it's all overhead and we do not segregate it. So if you ask me, do we have a budget for digitalizations for now? Yes, we do, but it is buried, buried within an IT or commercial or logistic cost itself.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Widarta. We also have a quite related question about how many inventory reduce, well, approximately, with digitalization and logistics, because when we can reduce the inventory amount, it will have a big value added to the customer, especially in the distributor. So probably if I can summarize it, how many reduction in inventory level with digitalization, probably in the real case in SPIL.
Okay. I'm sorry that, the inventory doesn't belong to us. The inventory belongs to the manufacturers. Now, it really is not fair to me to say, okay, they reduce so many percent of their inventory costs because I don't know. But the fact that we in logistics are actually able to connect digitally to their inventory control, that will bring their inventory costs down. As of how many percent is being down, it is for Unilever or P&G to actually say it. And I have to apologize here. I wouldn't have any ideas. Probably there is some literatures or some research that has been done, but in the case of SPIL, no, we haven't done it. So I'm sorry.
Yes, thank you very much. Actually, there's also another question for Mr. Widarta. What would you say about Indonesian logistics in terms of sustainability? Would you say how to bring Indonesian towards the sustainability?
Okay. Again, this is whatever I say here is basically what I think, but it may not be true because I can always be wrong. Sustainability for logistics in Indonesia. There is this three parts, I think. Professor Nyoman was saying there's this agility, there is this sustainability, and for me, the third one is the operational flexibility. Talk about sustainability, of course, Indonesia has to sustain it because there is no other choice. Indonesia is the archipelagos with so many islands, and it means that sea transportation is foremost, and therefore, to sustain that, there is no other way to actually build the ports. So how long then, the question is for us to be able to build ports as of, for example, world standards. It takes more than one or two or even three presidents to build ports. Does that actually answer the questions? So if every president was actually serving for 5 years, I'll be saying about 20 years.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry if the answer is rather weird, yeah.
No, it's totally understandable.
Sustainability is about ports now. I mean, if I'm talking about is shipping liners, container liners.
Okay. Because actually when I read some articles about big ships is also producing a lot of CO. So when we calculate like the carbon footprints, it's actually a huge thing today's in the sustainable world. That's why people nowadays try to source their products from locally. And this will affect like the logistic company like SPIL, of course. Perhaps if you have any thoughts about it.
If that is the sustainability that we're talking about, I'm sorry, the first one, then I probably answered it wrongly. That kind of sustainability in Indonesia, it really depends on how we implement the IMO rules using the low sulfur fuels and whatnot. But then again, to do all that, it means that it's quite a huge cost to cover for Indonesia. So how do we go green? We go green by being very much aware and sufficient in our usage of fuels. In terms of digitalizations, we put sensors, like Mr. Bahri was saying, in our ship engines. Debunkering, we know exactly at any time at all, how much we consume. And we probably control our ship speed. We are using low sulfur. So all that sustainability, we have been, I think we put down our carbon footprint. Let me remember my numbers. I think from 2010 to today, we bring down almost 50% of our carbon footprints. That is the, I might be wrong on my numbers, 50 to 60%, given the 2010 to today. That's how we drop our carbon footprints.
Okay, thank you. Perhaps this one will be the very last question we ask on this session. For the rest question, we will put it on the YouTube.
That's okay.
Yes.
7
No,
p.m.
I still have another question for you. I think this one will be the very last. You've known in the last few years, the online shopping has become a trend now in Indonesia. And actually it's already started in Western, in US or in Europe. And it costs a lot of mall or big distributor are closed because people now moving into online shop. And this online shop, they need more smaller expedition like JNA, JNT, or many other brand which now coming up. And I think this kind of smaller brand, is it becoming a threat for SPIL, or this become like perhaps SPIL try to go to this area of logistic, the smaller door-to-door shipping too, like these other brands? I don't know, perhaps you have some thoughts about it.
Yeah. Actually, we're very happy with those. I don't mean small, but the guys who are doing first and last miles delivery for us. In fact, we do not actually wish to compete with them. As you probably have seen, we are in partnership with Delivery. That is for our first and last miles, and Delivery is trucking companies. And no, not at all. We are happy to collaborate together. So when our container is ready to be picked up, our customers could actually order through the same apps as our MySpill, and delivery trucks will actually pick the cargo up, bring it to the ports, and we will fill it up to the ships and send it over. The same on the last miles as well. So no, we do not compete with that. And say we are having our own trucks, which is equipped with an application as well. And if we do not have enough trucks, we use vendors, and the vendors will use our applications. There is no competitions. We do not actually wish to go there because we do not have the expertise. We're okay with shippings, but not okay with trucks.
Okay, thank you very much for Mr. Widarta, Mr. Deddy, and Mr. Bahri for the session that has been given to us. I will summarize our webinar today. So at the end, digitalization is actually a mean that will enable our company, either is like a logistic company like SPIL or other company who use the logistic system to become more competitive. But at the end, it's always about cost efficiency, and we need to optimize to digitalize all our system. Perhaps that's all that I can summarize for today. Thank you, and I will return the session to our MC.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Felecia, our moderator of the day. And please allow me to say thank you to all of our magnificent speakers, Professor Nyoman Pujawan, Mr. Bahri bin Mahmud, Mr. Widarta Liunanda, and Mr. Deddy Wijaya.
Thank you.
Dear honored audience members, we have reached the end of our event today. And I would like to remind all of you to please fill in the attendance list. And if you have any questions, you can fill in the Q&A form and we will try to answer it. I would like to send the highest gratitude to all of the audience members for having participated in this event. I hope this event could give all of us more insights into the future of logistics in the digital era. Representing the board of committee, I would like to apologize for any inconvenience, and I am very honored to have had the opportunity to welcome all of the audience members. Thank you and see you in future events. Goodbye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Glad to be here.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you
Mr.
very much.
Widarta. Thank you, Mr. Deddy.
Bye.